and welcome back to She Sparks Live, episode 16, The Fraud Factor. I'm super excited as we have the Miss Hollie Hope with us today.
Sweet
and
16.
Yes, they're right, number 16. Hollie is with the Beauty of Perspective, and I am super excited about our topic and just can't wait to dive in deep of all of the information that Hollie has to provide. So Hollie, to begin, I'm going to ask you a crazy question to begin with, and that is, what would the world be like if there was, how do I ask this? What would the world be like if it was full of male and female copies of Hollie Hope?
It would definitely have tacos as a staple. Tacos as a staple. That would be the meal of the planet. It would be very organized. There would be no loud eaters. See, it's all about food because food's my love language. And it would be very driven, but we would play before we worked. Like almost always. Play before we work.
So play hard, then work harder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Play hard and then work, and the work flows easier because you're already lighthearted.
Well, that's what the world would look like, filled of male and female Hollie Hopes. I love it. So Hollie, tell us what you do, what's your passion, but most importantly, what sparked your journey?
Well, I clear emotional crap is the easiest way to say
does.
that. So I'm an intuitive healer, and that means that I talk to guides and spirits and get information about your life and about what needs to be cleared so that you can move forward and stop sabotaging and stuck in the emotional cycles. So I get told what that cycle is, we look at it, we remove it. So that's kind of in a really small crunch version of that. And I started 12 years ago when...
Wow.
Yeah, I know, it's been a long time. People are like, I didn't realize you did this.
That's a journey. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah. 12 years ago, I was a professional makeup artist, and my business was not moving forward. I would hit a money cap, and then I would stop, and no money would come in, and then I would work really hard and make all this money. And then I'd stop, and then I'd go, and I had this glass ceiling.
Sometimes that's the life of an entrepreneur.
Yes. And so I'm venting to a friend of mine, and she's like, okay, I think you have some emotions you need removed or something. And I went, okay, that sounds like a bunch of woo-woo and a bunch of weird stuff. And so I decided to talk to this woman and learn how to clear it. And the method she used was the emotion code. She found some emotions.
I love emotion code.
I was so sold.
Yes.
And I was like, okay. And so I started working on her, and then she would go, okay, you have this from this, and this emotion from this. And I grew up with abusive relationships and an abusive home, and you know, I was pregnant as a teenager and all of those things. And so I ended up going, honey, it's gonna take you years to get rid of all my emotional crap. So I'm just gonna learn how to do this for myself. And so within 5 minutes, I could do what she did, and I studied, and then I found my own method, and
she was a good
tuned in for more.
I love that you meet people for a reason.
Yes.
For a reason and a purpose.
Yes.
I love it. So let's talk about the topic, the fraud factor. You and I, we went to dinner last week, and we were just talking about this topic, and I was just like, this is perfect for the show. And so what does this topic, the fraud factor, mean to you, Hollie, and why did we decide this?
I think we were talking about this, I don't even remember what sparked it on, which is perfect sign of being inspired, because sometimes it's like, wait, where did that come from? But the fraud factor is the piece that we all feel about ourselves. That's the fake or the phony, like the piece that, what if everybody finds out I don't really know what I'm doing? But you do know what you're doing. We all know what we're doing. Obviously, you're an expert at it, or you wouldn't have a passion to teach it and to share it. Mm-hmm. And it comes from the place of feeling like you have to be perfect to be able to teach and share and impact and help someone's life improve. So you don't have to know it all in order to move to the next step. Yeah. And so it's just this whole level of vulnerability that we kind of get stuck in, and not letting ourselves be vulnerable enough to say, you know what, I'm not an expert in every area, but in this one area or these 3 areas, man, I know my stuff. And I can help you to not be in so much pain or not take so long to figure out this piece that you need.
I love it. It's kind of just like fake it till you make it. Like, you're not faking it. You, like you said, you know what you're doing. Sometimes you might not feel like it, so just faith it. Faith it till you make it, right? I love it. And so I really love what you do, Hollie, and I was glad to experience that session that we did a couple weeks ago and what it really has done with my stress, because that's my number one thing that I've really realized that it's helped. But how do you feel like, how do we break away from all of our negative self-doubt and negative self-talk of, you know, should I be doing this? I can't do it. Or I'm not good enough. Or I don't know enough. Like, how do we break away from that?
Yeah. Well, one of the first key pieces, especially with She Sparks, because you have rooms filled with powerful, forward-thinking, expansive women, and as soon as, you know, if we go back to our teenage years and we go back to elementary school, as soon as we get in a room full of people, we start to compare sometimes.
Yep.
And it's that little voice in your head
do
that says, well, she's better than me at that, and she's better than me at that. And then that's where we start to like tear ourselves down, and then by the time we go to share, we're holding back.
Yeah.
And so the first step is to not hold back. It's okay to be all in and say, here's my flaws, but here's my gifts with those. So I had, this one time I was speaking on a stage, and there was a room full of women, and I'm teaching them a concept, and it had to do with being a makeup artist, and I'm teaching them, and I'm just looking at them, and I'm like, they're all just like giving me blank stares. They're just like, I made a joke, and I think my jokes are really funny.
Hey, I think your jokes are funny too.
I didn't even get a smirk. I was like, what? There's no emotion. And I went, why am I so disconnected from these people? And so we took a break and had them do an activity, and I go up the stage, and I'm like, man, why are we so disconnected? And I went, oh, I see. And so I reached down, grabbed my nylons, ripped them, just big old, and I just didn't say anything, and I walked back on the stage. And instantly everybody connected better. Why? Because I wasn't showing them my vulnerability. I wasn't showing them my humanity. I wasn't showing my flaws. And so they're like, you know what? You're perfect and way up there, and I just can't relate to that, so I'm out. Peace. I'll just, how long until this is over?
So you're telling me next time I'm on stage, just rip a hole in my clothes and I'll connect them?
Not a hole in your clothes. That's a different type of party.
Yeah, call me out! I love it. I love it.
But allowing yourself to have the flaws and almost to laugh at the flaws. Like one time I had a live on my Facebook feed, and one time I was in a parking lot, and I was so ticked because as I pulled out, I noticed this little girl pointing at my car, Mom, 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 as this girl was walking up, and I was like, that's a weird response. I get home, and there's a huge ding on my car. I'm like, that kid's mom hit my car, and how dare she just go off, and her kid's telling her, and she's hurrying him into the store. So I called Harmon's, and I'm like, okay, I need you to pull the footage and tell me who hit my car. Can you believe this is happening? And the guy's like, oh yeah, I'll pull it. He calls me back, well, hi, Miss Hollie. So we looked at the footage, and yeah, there was a car that made an impact with yours, only you were driving, and you hit their car and didn't know. And I was like, I'm so sorry, can you find their information? He's like, unless they call, there's nothing we can do. But we get so stuck in our way, and we're like, I can't make any mistakes. I'm the best driver ever. What are you talking about? But even sharing just that story of, yeah, I was a dork, and I was overwhelmed.
It was actually you.
My music was too loud. But see, that flaw helps you to go, oh, I've done stupid stuff like that too.
We were just talking about, and you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong, but it's we don't need to know everything. We just need to know that next step, right?
You don't have to know it all to give your all.
Yes,
that's really
love
good.
it. So let's dive in more to your zone of genius and what you do, and that's to me is intuitive healing. And so what is intuitive healing, and why do some of it work, some doesn't, and just kind of intuitive healing as a whole?
Yeah. Well, the intuitive part, I mean, it's a very large spectrum. So that's why it's always so hard for those of us who use these gifts to go, how do you tell people this? Because it's like this, but it's also like this, and it's also a little different. So it's kind of like you're just psychic. So you get information that's on the other side, and it comes in different ways. Some people read auras, some people read energies, some people see colors, some people see visuals. It just kind of depends. Yes. I mean, twitchy faces, body language, all of that are information that we're getting that's unseen from a physical plane, right? And so as we release it, it has to be released in different ways, because when we acquire negative perspectives, we also release it in that same manner. So if I'm a physical touch person, when I need to release, I need a release that is a physical release versus an emotional release. So a lot of us, some methods work because that resonates with our spiritual languages, and some methods we need a different one. I've had so many people come and they're just like, I don't understand, I had this and it worked, and how come this one isn't working, and how come it works for some people and not for me? And then we begin to self-doubt again, right? And so it's just a matter of the way that you learn or the way that you receive these negative perspectives is the way that you're going to be able to release them. And it's a matter of finding that method that works for you. And so when people ask me, Holly, when you find these negative perspectives about me, how are we going to release them? And it's like, well, I don't know. It depends on you. It depends on how you need the release. So sometimes I'll send people over to an acupuncturist to have something released because that's the way their body needs to move past this thing. Especially when we have things like abuse and where there was a physical impact made and muscle memory with that. So, yeah.
I see, like, just as you're talking, my visual, because I'm a visual person, it's like we're all made of energy. Everything around us is energy. And you have to have intuitive healing, and you have to emotionally clear your crap because you have to get rid of those negative energies. And negative energies and those blockage of energies is what causes pain, causes stress, probably causes you to lose your hair. I mean, it's pretty crazy how much pain can be caused physically and emotionally if you don't get your intuitive healing.
Well, and if you think about like the negative emotions and that negative energy, it almost sits and it kind of festers. And it will find the weak spot in your body. So it may be like, okay, yeah, I have cancer in my liver, and I didn't know that I would have cancer in my liver, but all these emotions that were stored in my liver for all this time weakened it, so it's most likely to get disease. It's most likely to have the pain because that's the weak spot, and it's made weak with all the energy that I've stuck there. And so it's like the stuff we suppress is usually going to come out in some physical form at some point if we keep ignoring it.
Exactly. So is there any other education or knowledge that you would like the listeners to know about what you do or just education in your industry?
Oh, that's a really big question.
So much!
There's so much. One of the big pieces, I think, to understand is that when we do have a healer or we have somebody that's helping us work through something, even if it's just a mental health therapist, a lot of times they never tell us anything new. And we don't realize it until after the fact. We're like, oh, yeah, that is what I do, but I didn't want to admit that I would do that. And so just allowing yourself to have the space to have some downtime and go, how am I really feeling about this? Is there something that I don't want to see that maybe I should see? And just asking ourselves that question because all of the answers are within, but a lot of times it's easier for someone to go, hey, here it is, and here it is, and here it is. And then we can't deny it and ignore it and hide it from ourselves. We get to actually face it head on. And we learned, oh, it wasn't that scary, and I don't even know why I was
fraud.
That.
It was just a fraud, right?
The real fraud part is the crap.
Yes. So, well, I can honestly say that when my number one takeaway when I did your healing is, first of all, it was kind of weird how you knew my self-conscious mind. Like you knew some things that I didn't think you knew. And so you knew it and you cleared it out, but my number one takeaway, and I actually told a lot of people this, is my stress, because you knew how stressed I was when I met with you, that stress then turned into peaceful stress. So like I still stress after meeting with you, but it was the emotions of you'll be okay. Don't stress to stress, you'll be okay. So I know it was from your healing because I have never felt that peaceful stress.
The space where it's like, oh, I feel this emotion and now I'm going to take action on it. Because all emotions are a form of needing an action. And so it's like, oh, here's the emotion and here's the action. Here's the emotion and here's the action. Versus, here's the emotion, oh no, what do I do? All I can see is the emotion now. And we get stuck in that.
Well, and it just, oh man, seriously, it just put me so much at ease. And I knew that I had to clear all of it. It's kind of like permission to let all of your freaking crap go.
Without the backstories. And also the nice thing too is that I don't know the details. So sometimes like I'll see like a visual, like a picture display, or I'll see you doing something, but I don't know the context behind it. I don't know all the many stories where this is played out. And after we're done, I don't remember any of it. So I'm like, oh, I'm glad you remember that because I couldn't even tell you what we cleared. I had no idea.
Well, because you were in tune, and then once you just...
And if I held on to everybody's stuff in my head,
so what are some ways people can experience some intuitive healing? Because I think there's a lot more than just what you do.
So some really good tools would be to look at the way you would need intuitive healing. So if you are So if you've heard of the 5 love languages, that's the best place to start because it's very similar to that. Or if you know your learning style, it's very similar to that. They're all the same. So they're spiritual languages. So the first one is touch. So if you are a touch person, if that's how you receive love, if you learn by doing, then you're going to want to find a healer that has a physical way to release, whether it's a magnet system, whether it's massage, whether it's Reiki, like something physical. If you just love the gift of knowing, and if you are a smell person, so if you notice smells faster than everybody else, if you love essential oils, then that's going to be the type for you. And usually you know this is your spiritual gift because you'll know things without knowing how you know them. It's like, ooh, I just know. And it's like, wait, I'm crazy. I shouldn't know this. No, that's a spiritual gift. So essential oils are going to be your best healing tool. If you are an ear person, if you hear things usually, or people will say things and they kind of zing a little bit in your ear, then your spiritual way you're going to receive it. It's going to be words of affirmation.
So that's my love language.
Yes. So talk therapy is really good for that. Or having like a healer who can say, this is specifically what we're removing, but like if they don't say anything and they just do the physical, you're not going to have the same release. Another type is speaking, so one where you would make statements. So I've got healers where it's like, here, say this, here, say this, here, say this. Or even seeing it drawn out on a marker board is going to be a really good one too. So, and then also the visual. So if you tend to see spirits, if you tend to see colors, if you tend to see those little things in the peripheral vision, you're probably, your spiritual language is the gift of sight. And I'm really condensing these so tiny down. I have a whole book on it, but I'm condensing it down. So a good intuitive healer for you is somebody that you can physically see. So like sage would be a phenomenal one because you can see the smoke, or burning something and in a fire. Something where you can physically see something going away that was there and now isn't is going to be a good release method for you.
That makes sense why some people oh, light bulb.
Yes. Or with feel, there's also drumming, which is one of my favorites. We did our drum making
She
workshop.
does. Check it out.
And you have the beat that you can just feel.
Let it out.
Yes. And also with ears, the drum can work as well. If you don't want to do the talk therapy, then doing the drums and singing bowls helps to release. So it just kind of depends on your method, and that's why there's so many. And that's why when you're looking at, oh, I should probably go work with someone, you need to make sure that you have someone who resonates with either your love language or your learning style. Because if it's so far extreme from your belief system and the way you can actually comprehend and release, you're not going to be able to have any release. Like you may have a little bit, but it's not going to be permanent changes.
Yeah.
It's just going to be like, oh, I feel good right now.
Well, and I know with intuitive healing and what you do, it's not just a one-time you're good. It's kind of like going to the gym. Like you have to be a little bit more consistent with it in order to really start feeling the difference in the results. Right?
Well, usually it helps to have a goal and then go, just like the gym. Okay, this is the goal of where I want to be. This is the results I want. So continue until you get those results. And then it's just like a maintenance thing after that.
So Hollie, to end this video, I would love to know, why did you join She Sparks business, and what has it done for you personally and professionally?
Ooh. So I joined She Sparks.
We love Hollie Hope and She Sparks.
I've been following She Sparks for a little while, before when I was still employed, and now I fully get to use my gift. And I just love the collaboration between women. And it's like, let's cheer each other on, and there's not always an agenda. Sometimes it's just, hey, I really want to bond with some women and realize that I'm not the only person who sometimes wakes up in the morning and just wants to cry. And that's okay, because the rest of the time I kick butt. So I can just cry one morning every once in a while and they get it. Yeah. And so it's more
women get women.
Yes. It's the connection, and it's the collaboration, and it's the celebration for your success. And if you're really having a struggle, you can sit at a table and you get 6 different opinions on how you can move through it. Yeah. And so I think that's my favorite part that I've enjoyed with it.
Thanks for sharing that. And what would you like to say to those who have never experienced a She Sparks business event?
Get your booty over here.
Yes.
So, yes.
Booty
You have nothing to lose by going and having some.
Yes, and we have an event this Thursday.
I'll
Hopefully
be
you're coming, 9:30 to 11:30. Jump on our website to check it out. If Hollie, if they want to learn a little bit more about what you do, how can they get a hold of you?
So you can reach me on Facebook or Instagram. It's Hollie, Hollie, Hope. Instagram is hollie.hope, or my website, thebeautyofperspective.com.
Love it. Well, thank you for watching episode 16, The Fraud Factor with Hollie Hope. We will see you at the next episode.